Welcome, everybody. My name is Sarah Ostman. I'm the Communications Manager in the American Library Association's Public Programs Office. We are really excited to bring you today's webinar, You Belong at Your Library, Programming for Adults with Intellectual Disabilities. Today's webinar is offered by ALA's Public Programs Office. As you may know, the Public Programs Office offers grants to help libraries fill their roles as cultural community centers. We are currently accepting applications for a couple of opportunities. Explore Earth, Explore Tech, and Explore Space are 3 traveling exhibitions on STEM topics designed to be educational for all ages. These exhibits require only 200 square feet of space, so they are perfect for smaller libraries. The opportunity is open to public libraries only, and we have just extended the deadline to October 8th. Native Voices is a traveling exhibition that explores the interconnectedness of wellness, illness, and cultural life for Native Americans, Alaska Natives, and Native Hawaiians. This exhibition was on display at the U.S. National Library of Medicine for 4 years. It's recently closed there, and it will soon tour to U.S. libraries. This opportunity is open to public, academic, special, and tribal libraries, and the deadline is November 6th. You can learn more about these opportunities and others at programminglibrarian.org. Just click on About and then click Current Opportunities. I just have a couple of notes about the online classroom, and then we'll get started. As I mentioned before we got started, our presenters provided some materials that they thought you might find useful. You can download those in the Related Files for Download pod, and we also have the slides from today's presentation in case you wanted to print those out and follow along. If you have a question while our presenters are speaking, please type it in the chat box. We will respond as we go along if possible. If not, we'll come back to it during the Q&A at the end. We have 2 presenters. We will go through both presenters and then do all of the questions at the same time at the end of the hour. This session is being recorded, and the archive will be available later today. You can find it at programminglibrarian.org/learn. And finally, if you have any technical issues today, you can send a private message to Colleen Barbas, and she can help you troubleshoot. To do that, you can just hover over Colleen's name at the top of the host list and select Start Private Chat. I'd now like to introduce our first presenter, Kayla Kuni of Port Richey Public Library in Port Richey, Florida. Kayla graduated from the University of South Florida in 2009 with a BA in English, and again in 2014 with her MLIS. She has worked at Port Richey Public Library for 2 years. While most of her time is spent working in youth services, she also spends quite a bit of time working in adult services and in outreach. Kayla is going to tell us about her award-winning art and literacy program that she created for the Red Apple Adult Training Center, which is a nonprofit organization that provides meaningful daytime activities for adults with disabilities. I will now pass the mic over to Kayla.
Hello, I just want to confirm if everybody can hear me okay. You can either indicate in the chat box or just give me a thumbs up. Excellent. Okay. So my name is Kayla. I work at the Port Richey Public Library, and I'm going to tell you a little bit today about a program that I started about 2 years ago for the Red Apple Adult Training Center, which is commonly known in our area as the Red Apple School. They do services for adults with special needs. It's basically like any other school. They have a curriculum, they have classes. And I'm going to tell you about how we kind of assisted them in their curriculum development. So, as was earlier mentioned, I went to the University of South Florida. I took a really awesome class there called Human Rights and Libraries with Kathleen Della Pena-McCook. And one of the topics of that class was working with underserved populations, and adults with special needs was one of those groups that we talked about. And I learned through this class to be a little bit more observant of my community, the people that are around me, and to really pay attention to those who are in our community but aren't using our facility. I did not find out about Red Apple School by looking them up online. I found out about them by seeing their bus pass by my library every day when I was at lunch. And I really started thinking, I wonder why they're not stopping. Like, they go everywhere else. I see them all around the community, but they don't come here. So I took that opportunity to kind of talk to my associate director and see if there's something that we can do. So these are the questions that you want to consider before starting a program like this. Does your community have any schools with adults with special needs? They probably do. They may not have buses like Red Apple did. Red Apple's pretty well funded for the most part. But they may be out there and just not have that sort of marketing on their vans. What are the mission statements and goals? Most of these schools have mission statements and goals that are very similar to library mission statements and goals. You can read through them and see where education fits in and where library services can also fit in. How can your art program advance their goals? I'm throwing this out there because I did an art program. You can do any kind of program you're interested in. For this particular school, they were very into art, so I kind of expanded upon that. And how will you determine if your program is successful? Programs like this, it goes beyond numbers. Red Apple School is fairly large, but are the students learning? Do they look forward to coming to the library? Are they aware of other resources that we have available for them? So these are all little tidbits that I look at for determining success. So planning and researching a program like this. My first step, because I'm an information assistant too, is to get permission from the people above me. I first went to my associate director and said, this is a program I'm interested in. Are you okay with this? And I was given permission to pursue. And then at that point, I asked, do we have any past relationship with this organization? If there was a past relationship, did it end badly? Did it end well? We want to determine who's reaching out to this group. Is it outreach? Do you have an outreach department? Are they going to do it? Are your youth department associates more comfortable doing that? Do you have an adult services department that has time to do that? I work in youth services, but I also help with adult and outreach. We're a very small library. So I kind of fit into all three a little bit. And budget. What kind of materials do you already have that you can possibly be using? Programs like this don't have to be expensive. You can look for people to donate materials. I was very fortunate. People donated a lot of materials for my programs after finding out about what I'm doing. And there's another point that I actually didn't put on here. Keep your staff informed about the program and what's happening with it. One of the things I noticed with my program is the staff loves seeing the artwork that the students create when they come to the art classes here. So let your staff know what days they're coming so that they can be excited about seeing the artwork. Okay, so curriculum development. This is a big way that we can help these schools. Most of these schools have a curriculum director or a curriculum coordinator. Red Apple did. This is the person that I reached out to get information about what kind of programs their school does. Before I talked to her, I did do a little bit of Facebook snooping. I looked at things that they're already doing, and I tried to collaborate with programs that we already have established here at the library. And again, look at their mission statement. We're having issues with audio, I see. Sarah, some issues with audio. Okay, well, I'll keep going, and we'll hope that that gets corrected. Okay. Like I was saying, they'll pick crafts and research materials that will advance their curriculum. It may not be easy to do this, but it's well worth the effort. We at our library actually have a seed library where students can check out seeds, take them home, and grow them. Red Apple has a garden, so that is one situation where we kind of can collaborate with them. Hours of operation. Many of these schools operate until 2 o'clock, roughly like high school hours. 8 until 2 is the hours of operation for Red Apple, and that did come into play because I'm having them come here, and we're also using our meeting room space. So I want to know what hours is ideal for those students. So 8 to 2, but they're really only active from 10 until 2. From 8 until 10, they're doing schoolwork. And there's also the very important point of lunch. They have to have lunch at a specific time. Some of the students take medication. Other students just have to, they're on a schedule and they have to stick with that schedule. So I would say plan a program earlier in the day, but not to exceed an hour. Make sure you're in touch with the curriculum coordinator about their lunch times. That's very, very important, and it's sometimes hard to remember. Attendance and space. Inquire about how many students attend the school. When I first reached out to Red Apple about the program and what they would be interested in doing, I already had an idea that this was going in the art direction. But one of the things that I first asked was, so how many students do you want to bring? And they said, can we bring everyone? Which led to the question is, well, how many is everyone? About 180. Well, that's not really going to work in my meeting room space. So I had to set it at about 10 to 12 students, which is about one classroom size. And they would come in every month. We would get a different classroom, and I would set up tables. I tried different setup structures. The structure that's in the picture on the screen right now was the most convenient because it allowed the students to see one another and to show off their artwork. And it also gave me an opportunity to walk in front of them. Some students are hard of hearing, so the idea of somebody being behind them might be a little intimidating, or just in general might be intimidating. So the idea of being in the middle and the center of the program, being able to conduct the class that way, was most convenient for me, but I've tried different table setups. This is the most ideal. Okay, so 140 to 180 students, how does that work? Well, there are two campuses. So between these two campuses, I alternate months. One month, the main campus will bring a class in. The next month, the Jefferson campus will bring a class in. One of the things I noticed that when I first started the program, it began in January, and by the time summer reading rolled around, I ended up going to their campuses to do campus visits. And I realized that only the main campus students were coming to the classes that whole period of time. So after summer reading ended, we started alternating months between the two campuses. It gives everybody a fair shot at coming to the library. Monthly emails. This is really critical to have like your main person. For me, it was the curriculum coordinator. Her name was Mary. And everything I did every month, I sent them monthly emails to keep them abreast as to what was going on. I sent them detailed descriptions about the program and what we were using, specifically supplies. And there's a lot of things that stain out there. And students, they're coming to school in their good clothes. So we advise them when to bring smocks. They also ask if there's anything they can ever bring or anything they need to bring. Sometimes they'll ask if they can bring newspaper to use as something to lay down the table. Red Apple has a lot of newspaper, but so do I. So the only thing I really tell them is when we have a program coming up, just so that they're aware and so that I don't repeat something that they're already doing. For example, this month we're doing Veterans Day crafts. We're doing cards and art pieces for a local veterans clinic. And I didn't want to repeat something that they were already doing. So I just want to keep them informed about that. So like any school, there's very diverse skill sets. Some students can't use scissors because they can't grip them. So it's important to know that in advance. Do I have to pre-cut anything? Is glue going to be a problem, or paint? Paint stains, depending on the kind of paint you use. I send a picture of the craft along to you so that teachers are aware, students are aware, and I make sure the facility is aware of the difficulty level. For the whole purpose of sending additional help. When I first started this program, the first few months, they would send 2 teachers per class for library visits. I think just to see how much work it was going to be on their end. But after summer reading, it went down to just 1 teacher. So I guess we were doing something right because they didn't have to send additional help. Creativity. We encourage students to create artwork using unique tools like Q-tips and loofah sponges, or even a toothbrush. Programs like this, we can utilize every kind of tool you have in a supply closet that you never considered using. Seriously, we've used a toothbrush. It was pretty awesome. We encourage students to use different techniques. We don't want everyone creating the same thing. I'll create a demo of art crafts of what we're doing that day, but I encourage them to do something on their own and something different that they enjoy. So technology. I use technology a little bit in my programs, not as much as I'd like to. I'm trying to get more involved in using technology, but I use it when I can. I create, like I mentioned before, a physical demonstration to show students, but I found it was really inconvenient to have to carry it around, and one person would look at it for 10 minutes, and then somebody else would say, I want to see the demo, and it's with another student. So it kind of turned into a running around the room trying to figure out where the demonstration is. So I would use my overhead projector if possible. This unfortunately isn't the greatest picture, but in the background, there's a projected image of an art piece that was supposed to be the inspiration for their project that day. It's easier for students just to look up and see the projected image on the screen, and it also gives them a more clear understanding of programs that we offer at the library and technology we have available. So cost-friendly materials, as I was saying before, those annoying Q-tips that fall out of the supply closet, I still have them, and leftover scrap paper, they can be used for some really awesome crafts for this type of program. I recommend just thinking outside the box, looking stuff up online, reading some books. about special needs adults and programs that can help facilitate them as well. And also, don't be shy about telling your community members about your program. I've had members donate scrapbooking supplies after I talked about an upcoming craft in which we are creating scrapbooks. One community member probably donated $500 worth of crafting supplies that she was not using anymore, and she thought that it was a great program. She knew somebody who had special needs, and she wanted to help. So you never know. Never consider getting donations, but it's an opportunity, I think, to just talk about this program and get people aware too that these programs are out there for special needs adults as well. It's not just an art program. This program has evolved over the past 2 years. Again, we want to assist them with their curriculum goals. So they were going to a local marine institute to see Winter the Dolphin, and there was a film that they wanted to see that we had. It gave us an opportunity to facilitate discussion about a topic that they were learning about in school. It gave us an opportunity to show them books that are available for them for checkout. And it also just gave them a moment to come to our library. They have a program on Wednesdays where they do walking. It's a physical activity. And they never really had a location to go. So this is the first time they ever said they had an actual destination in mind, and it was the library. So I'm actually in talks with them doing a walkover Wednesday program once it's not so terribly hot here in Florida. They are far away. They're like a block down the road from us, but it's really hot, especially when they're pushing wheelchairs. But this was an excellent program. We had probably, those pictures don't tell the truth, but there's about 80 people in that room right now. So it was a very successful program, and it gave me an opportunity to think of other things we can do aside from art that can help with their curriculum. There are so many positive effects of programming for adults with special needs. Our library is located right next to City Hall, so this gave them the opportunity when they come here to go next door, see City Hall, see how government works. They also have had numerous art shows with their art on display at the City Hall Art Gallery, which is actually named after my library director. And it was just a great opportunity to see them come in and see something else aside from just the library. Community interaction, that's another goal of this program. We started an art class probably in June where we did a painting. And the painting was inspired by something I actually saw when I was at the Alabama Library Association conference this past year. A local art gallery had this beautiful picture that they had done, and I wanted to do something like that with the students. So we did the painting at school in June or July, and the next month we went to Green Key Beach and got some sand, glued it down. It gave them the opportunity to interact with other people from the public that were out at the beach that day. And we also learned a little something about the circle of life because there was a dead shark on the beach, which was sad. But it's one of those things you really can't prepare for. There are certain things in programs like this you can't expect. That was one. I don't know how many places a dead shark would come up as a problem for a program, but there you go. There's one right there. So in May, I was trying to come up with a crafting program, and I thought of the idea of May It Forward. And the idea was that students would create artwork at each campus, and we would donate that artwork to other organizations within our community that serve other populations that are considered maybe at risk. So for the main campus, Sunrise Domestic Abuse Shelter came in, and the students had painted a chest for them, and inside of that chest are beautiful pictures and drawings that they made for the residents at the domestic abuse shelter. In addition to you donating these, beautiful pieces of art, the students actually had an opportunity to talk to the two ladies that are representatives from Sunrise, Cassandra and Amanda, and they both talked about what domestic abuse is, and they also answered any questions students had about domestic violence. So this was a really great opportunity to be informed for students. And they also talked a little bit about it further in their curriculum later that day. This was what the other campus opted to do, Jefferson. We created a lighthouse birdhouse that they painted, and we donated it to the Lighthouse for the Visually Impaired and Blind. And this organization, not only did they get to present their artwork, they also got to take a tour of the lighthouse. I've done work with this organization. They're really awesome. And some of the students even have need that they could be met through the lighthouse. So this was an opportunity to get a couple of the groups that I've worked with over the years to interact with one another, and it actually was super successful. So success, we talked about this earlier. I found success, I think, early in this program when the curriculum coordinator said students who hated to read or refused were actually coming into her office and reading to her during our summer reading program. We offer prize incentives. We offered weekly engagement, and they did group reading. So that's one little bit of success. There are large numbers with this program, as I said. Anywhere from 140 to 180 adults are participating in this. But it's not just the big numbers. It's, are they actively engaged in the program? And they are, for the most part. Do they enjoy coming to the library? They do. I see them out in the community. Do they recognize me? They do. We are always showing them new ways that our library can assist them in their educational needs. And that comes through programming. It's something that'll come to me when I'm planning a program, like, oh, I've never shown them this database before, or oh, we can do this to use these resources that they've never used. And another really awesome, successful part of this program is our staff. Our staff loves when Red Apple comes to town because they are just so excited. They're so thrilled to be in the library, and they just love to show off their artwork. So the importance of campus visits, as I mentioned, there are 2 campuses. We get a feel for the space that the students have to work with in their school campuses. Do they have desks or cubbies? Like, I don't want to create this massive craft that they have no place to put once they go to school. Can we do something in an art program that can assist them with their personalized learning space? It's possible, but for the most part, they do kind of move around a lot. So I really enjoy going to their campuses. It gave me a feel for the students that I'm not seeing, that don't come to the library for whatever reason. So it's an opportunity to just interact, and they can also take me on a tour of their facility, which kind of empowers the students a little bit. So the long-term goals of this program have been, and probably always will be to keep this group involved in the library, be it doing an art program with them or just some other outreach event. It's very important that they are comfortable and happy here. We make them aware that the library is here for them. We make them feel comfortable. One of the big things I always do for the students is end with a tour. And I also want them to know that they can ask any questions to anybody working at the circulation desk. And like I said, our staff is excellent. They always greet the students when they come in. They say goodbye when they leave. They compliment their artwork. This is a very successful program from a staff perspective, too. So getting beyond the library, it's not just Red Apple that I work with. I also do a program for Center for Independence, which is now known as Suncoast Arts, and I will be starting with Pasco of Fire. These are both programs for adults with special needs. They're very large programs. I would say anybody that wants to work with these groups of people, it's very important. A lot of organizations are cutting their funding. We had a program down in Tarpon that recently got its funding cut, and the city of Tarpon actually stepped up and is supporting it from here on out. So anything that you can do to further the goals of these individuals, I highly recommend it. Don't be intimidated. We don't all know everything about this group, but I recommend trying. Just do your research, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Kayla. We will have time for questions with Kayla later, but now I would like to introduce our second presenter, Linda Holtslander of the Loudoun County Public Library in Virginia. Linda holds an MLS from the University of California at Berkeley and a BA in journalism from the University of the Americas. Linda is going to tell us about her library's Next Chapter Book Club, which is based on a model developed by the Ohio State University's Neisinger Center. The program offers bi-weekly gatherings for adults with intellectual disabilities to read and learn together regardless of reading ability. Just a quick note that there is going to be a video during Linda's presentation. When that starts playing, you can adjust the volume at the top of your screen. Just to the right of the word audio, you will see a microphone icon. Click the little arrow to pull down, and you can adjust the sound there. With that, I would like to turn the mic over to Linda.
Thank you so much. First, I'm going to tell you where we are. Loudoun County Public Library is located about 30 miles outside of Washington, D.C. If you've ever flown into Dulles Airport, you're in Loudoun County. We're a suburban community of about 365,000 people. The library has an 8-branch system, and we have always been actively involved in assuring that all members of our community feel welcomed and have fun at all of our branches. To ensure that these members of the community have an equal opportunity to participate, the library has developed a continuum of programs that promote literacy and social inclusion for both children, teens, and adults with intellectual disabilities, sensory integration challenges, autism spectrum disorders, and physical disabilities. We often hear the term community inclusion when talking about adults with intellectual disabilities. The Next Chapter Book Club offers real-life examples of this term. The club allows people a chance to be part of a community in a meaningful way. Members determine practically all aspects of their participation in the Next Chapter Book Club, beginning with what book they are going to read to what refreshments we're going to eat. It's about self-determination that we hope carries over into the lives of these people in many, many different ways. The premise is simple. A group of 8 to 12 people with intellectual disabilities, regardless of reading skills, gather with 2 volunteer facilitators in a local bookstore, a coffee shop, a mall, a cafe, or a library to read aloud and discuss a book for 1 to 2 hours a week, much like all the other book clubs that we have in the library. The Next Chapter Book Club members choose how they will structure their club and which books they want to read. Our members are learning, making new friends, and talking about books regardless of reading abilities. Members take time reading aloud, receiving as much support as they need. They also spend time socializing with one another. The Next Chapter Book Club welcomes members with any reading ability. And now we're going to hear from one of our members, Jennifer, about what the Next Chapter Book Club means to her.
Alrighty, so the book club meets twice a month at Russ Library, and we have our own little private room, which we like to call the tree house. We have thought about and once experienced meeting outside of the Russ Library. Not many of our members are quite ready to do that, but we're always building up our courage to do so. We really enjoy reading adventure stories, and we'll soon start reading White Fang. We always include snacks on our book club meetings. Every session begins with open conversation on what members want to share, need to talk about, want to talk about, and we then turn our focus to our book and take turns reading out loud. Everyone is encouraged to read out loud for practice, but no one is forced to if they don't want to. We'd like to add more activity outside of reading to our book club, but we have a little bit difficulty, each of us, getting around on our own, so we're looking for suggestions and ideas. I'd just like to wish everyone the very best in their Next Chapter Book Club. Remember, this is an open arms book club. Everyone is welcome no matter how well you read, no matter what walk of life you've come from. Just be open arms, accept everyone as they are, be open to talking about each other and with one another, and enjoy each other's company.
Thank you, Jennifer. I am one of the 2 volunteers that facilitate the Next Chapter Book Club. My co-volunteer is Mary on the right. Here she is with our star reader, Linda. Linda began with a few sentences on a page, and now she wants to read the entire chapter. Our club is awesome. I look forward to hearing about everyone's activities. The time we spend together is always full of laughter and fun. There are many reasons to be a facilitator for the Next Chapter Book Club. How about who can't use more friends? The group becomes like a family, and we look forward to getting together each week. And I think the best reason is your Next Chapter Book Club members will leave a lasting impression on your life. We have partnered with Paxton Campus, who is a local chapter of the National ARC, in presenting the book club. The Paxton Campus mission is to maximize the potential of children and adults while supporting families and individuals with disabilities so they may thrive in the community. They do this through a number of educational programs that help adults with disabilities live and work independently and obtain their wonderful model, a life like yours. The library also partners with the County Department of Mental Health for recruitment and awareness programming. Through group homes and community presentations, we have a wonderful and always growing group of book club members. In preparing to begin the Next Chapter Book Club, we reached out to a local philanthropic organization in our community that had assisted us before with programming for children on the spectrum. There are many other ways to get the seed money for the club, and we have found that service clubs are very interested in this community inclusion project, as are local businesses. The 100 Women Strong awarded us a $3,000 grant, which paid for the training for the program facilitators with a national organization, helped us purchase books, and still does, and of course, buy refreshments. The training to become an affiliate allowed us to meet with other clubs throughout the country and watch demonstrations of book club meetings with the actual book club members, hear from speakers about strategies to reach potential participants, and also to build a national relationship for our book club. We purchase paperback copies of the books we read and allow our members to keep them if they want to. Our members particularly enjoy reading selections from the great illustrated classics, which include 66 titles. Lucky Dog, Lost Hats, and Dating Don'ts was written with the Next Chapter Book Club members in mind. It is a collection of true-to-life stories and their characters, some with developmental disabilities, some without, who want to live as independently as they can. And just like real life, there are episodes of hilarity, messiness, responsibility, longing, fulfillment, and adventure. We also enjoy watching the movie version of the books after we have read it and compare the book to the film. Anyone who is interested can join the Next Chapter Book Club. The book club members have multiple opportunities to engage in self-determination during the evening. Group norms such as where members sit and the way they begin the meeting will all develop as members feel more at ease with each other and with you as the facilitator. We encourage everyone to read a line, a page, or more. We talk about the book and give members time to respond. We celebrate the accomplishments of the members many, many times during the evening, and we read too. If there are questions about a certain country, how long do dogs live, what do parrots eat, we have a computer at the table so that we can find the answers. And often the answers take us to more and more questions. Everyone is learning, and it's really fun. The Next Chapter Book Club can meet in a variety of settings in the community. The Loudoun County Public Libraries Club meets in a small meeting room in one of our branch libraries. The room has an open door so anyone can join, and people often do. We tried meeting in a restaurant, but the members thought it was too loud. Since it is their club, we returned to the library. Book club members help us with the setup and putting the chairs away. Everyone loves to help. We are building community and friendship all together. The Next Chapter Book Clubs are designed the Next Chapter Book Clubs are not designed to teach reading. They focus on reading to learn. Our members often share personal stories of their life, remembering the first time they had a pet, or saw snow in their backyard, or the first time they had a roommate. It is spontaneous, and sometimes we just stop reading and talk. Not everyone comes to the meeting for the same reason, and not everyone gets the same thing out of the meeting. Before we begin reading, we talk about where we are in the book. I love this. Recently we read White Fang, and the club members loved reliving the beginning of the book many, many times. If you haven't read it in a long time, I suggest you do. It's about the most exciting thing you can imagine. One of the book club members loved the word howl, and every time it appeared, she would assist us by howling at the moon like a wolf. Once you have hosted a next chapter book club, you will want everyone to do the same. In the last 2 years, Loudoun County Public Library has received the National Association of Counties Achievement Award and the Virginia Association of Counties Achievement Award for these programs and other similar programs we offer in the library. I've included the proposal we wrote in the attachments so you can learn more about our programming, also for children and teens. I think by now you might be recognizing some of the members of the Loudoun County Public Library's Next Chapter Book Club having a really good time. The friendships that they have gained through the book club flourish at other opportunities. For our members in the community, this is a great opportunity for them to change their lives in many different ways. Some of the members are developing rich and social lives through their participation in the Next Chapter Book Club. With their new friends, they attend weekly adapted art classes, quarterly dances, movie screening, and events inspired by the book club. Our Next Chapter Book Club meetings have become a catalyst for peer relationships among our members, providing opportunities for them to interact with each other and the greater community in a variety of ways, and allowing them to truly experience that wonderful phrase, a life like yours. I also hope by now that you are considering starting your own book club and that this quote from Tom Fish will inspire you to make it happen. To start a Next Chapter Book Club, contact the Next Chapter Book Club office at Ohio University. All the information about how to do that is provided in the attachment. The best way to make this happen is to have several libraries in your area come together for the training. The facilitators are exceptional, and you will learn so much about what you can offer your book club members. By being an affiliate, you have the support of the national office and groups across the nation who are presenting book clubs. This beautiful statement was made by one of our book club members on the last day of her friend's participation. She had expressed what all of us feel about the experience and our friend. Our time together is a strong reminder of the incredible diversity and talent within people, just waiting for the opportunity to be heard. Thank you. Please contact me if you'd like to learn more about the Next Chapter Book Club, and if you are in our area, we would love to have you come and participate. As one of our members said, this is what I have wanted to do all my life. And you know what? I feel like that too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Linda. That was wonderful. We would now like to open it up to questions for either Kayla or Linda. And we did have a few that were asked during the course of the presentation, so I can start us off with one of those. Linda, someone asked, M. Fenton at greenberglibrary.org asked, can you talk a little bit about strategies for initial outreach to these organizations and groups? Many of them come into our library, and we would like to know how we can engage them in other meaningful ways, but the group leaders don't always seem receptive. And I think that actually could be a question for either of you, whichever of you would like to jump in first.
Well, I'll answer it first because we're really, really lucky because of our partnership with the Paxton campus, which has allowed us to have a direct link to many of the adults that participate in the program. So probably for about the first 6 months of the program, our participants were coming from that organization, and which are individuals that live all over the county. But now we have a lot of people from group homes. We don't really experience that kind of non-interest that the question referred to. In fact, if they come with a caregiver or some attendant to the program, those people get a book and they're part of the Next Chapter Book Club too. And that's a very cool thing, because the enthusiasm then that the caregiver sees in the person that they're with, sometimes they're there with a group of people, is extraordinary, and it really adds another whole dimension to the book club meeting. We work also with the Department of Mental Health for the county. They've put out this information to the group homes and to various individuals. We haven't really had to seek members. Actually, our club now is about 17 participants, so I can't give you much more help than how we have done it, but I'm sure that if you get as enthusiastic as I feel about this, I'm sure that you can make it happen. Thank you for the question.
I would also recommend too that sometimes the group leaders that come in aren't always the decision makers for programming, which is one of the reasons I kind of mentioned the curriculum coordinator earlier. If you know the organization's name, maybe look up online their website and see if there's somebody that you can email and brainstorm ideas, just because a lot of times it could just be that group leader. Maybe they're stressed, maybe they have a lot of things they have to do that day, and this isn't even their call. So I would recommend getting in contact with somebody higher up at the school and seeing what they can help you develop with them so that you're furthering their goals as well.
Thank you. We also had a question earlier for Linda, looking for more details about the training that you got, and who led the training, what did it consist of, and what were the fees for you?
First, I'm going to start with the last part of that question. The fees would have to be arranged by the Next Chapter Book Club coordinators at the University of Ohio. I have to tell you, I've had a pretty long career and time, and I have never taken a training in my life that was so empowering and so beneficial and so lively and so what you want the club to be. So I highly recommend it. And as we were able through the grant to pay for the fee, and I can't even quote what the fee would be. Their structure, I talked to them yesterday how they would really like to have this, and their structure about what the fee is depends on where you are, and if it's a consortium of libraries that would come together, individual libraries. It has a lot of different parameters on what the fee would be. It's a 2-day, they do a half-day training. The volunteer that you saw in the pictures, Mary and I went to their national conference in Chicago, and that was a 1.5-day training. It is you meet educational practitioners in the area of intellectual disabilities that speak directly to what the book club would be like. You meet book club members, and the very neatest part about this training that we went to was that individuals with intellectual disabilities made up the audience too, so that all of the presenters, there were singing presentations, all types of other additional ways to get to know this population. They were there in the audience. The presentations were geared for everybody in the room. With the half-day training, or however you arrange it, with Tom and Julian, it is fantastic. Everything that you need to know, a book club kind of model is done for you. They bring along someone so that you have the whole idea of what it would be like. They're in-depth professionals in the area of working with this population. There isn't anything that you would not have after you had the training. And you also have a confidence that you now are part, as an affiliate, you're part of this national organization that can present these programs. It really wasn't hard to find the money. This organization is here in the county. We've gone, our director belongs to a service club organization and have expressed interest in helping us fund this. Also, we found another small grant that added additional money to purchasing the book. So it really is great. And I would start by emailing or talking to Tom or Julian about your interest and what you'd like to try to do. And I think you'll be able to make it happen.
Samantha Gale had a question for Kayla. She said, do you use or would you recommend any adaptive art materials for your programs?
I don't really use them, but it's based on the group that I work with. If they were required or we needed them, I would. Again, it would be one of those circumstances where it would depend on the group that you're working with. And chatting with them, seeing what they already use at their schools, if it's a school that you're contacting, see what they're already using and try to make the supplies that you have available at your library similar. For example, I usually use Elmer's glue from like the tub glue, and they use glue sticks. So that was kind of something that I had to change because they were using a lot of glue on things that they only needed a little bit of glue on. But again, this comes from chatting with the people at the school, seeing what they want you to do, what's most ideal for the residents as well. So, but I don't really use any adaptive art materials.
Thanks. This is a question that April asked for Linda, although Kayla, maybe you could speak to it too. It's, how do you coordinate your volunteers? Are they mostly library staff members or members of the community?
This is Linda. We do both. The volunteer that you saw on the slide and myself are the constant there every other Monday volunteer, but we've had parents of people that want to join the group ask if they could volunteer and be with us. It just, I don't know, it's not really a formal kind of a recruitment. We have had people that have found out about the program asked if they could volunteer. We asked them first to come to a session to meet the book club members, see how the club is run, experience the whole hour and a half that we're there together. And if they're still interested, Mary and I have some ideas about what they can do once they are part of it. If you take the training with the for the Next Chapter Book Club, all this kind of information is given to you in a way that is applicable, easy to do, and we've never had a problem with Mary or I being there or any of the other volunteers not showing up. People just really, really enjoy this experience.
This is Kayla. I had one volunteer about 2 summers ago, and then she got a job. It's just pretty much me and working with the staff at the school.
Hey, I have another question here from Christy Menzo. She says, do you have any strategies for program evaluation? Is this done mainly through conversations and observation?
I don't know. I think for us, it's that one slide that I showed where it was Linda. And almost 2 years ago when she joined the group, she's very constant with a friend of hers that they actually come with a caregiver. And I think the fact that she went from one word on a page to now, most recently, we are reading Peter Pan, to reading a whole chapter. We are not teaching reading in this group. We are teaching the enjoyment of it and not even really thinking about, are we breaking down these barriers for people to read and feel more confident in what they do. It just seems to happen because as soon as she finished, we all wanted to stand up and applaud, and she was very gracious and loved the fact that so many people were proud of her accomplishment. So as a formal evaluation tool, I would say no. The evaluation tool that we use probably the most would be attendance, and it is a steady group of people that come. We meet, like I say, every other week, and we found that each one of them are sort of reaching these inward goals that they have set for themselves.
It's mostly informal. It's mostly just chatting, asking questions, observing. Confidence, as Linda mentioned, has gone up amongst the students that are coming to our library. Students who, when they would first come in, would look straight down at the floor, wouldn't look at the circulation staff, barely made it up the stairs, are now coming in, they're greeting the staff, how are you today, shaking hands. So there's some of that. I mean, just observational. As was mentioned at the beginning, which I did not mention myself, this program actually was awarded ASCLA's Keystone Library Automation System National Organization on Disability Award this past year. So we have $1,000, and part of that funds went towards purchasing books for the schools to keep on their campuses and also reading incentives. For that award, we also did surveys, like formal surveys with the students, to get feedback about how this program's going, if they're enjoying it, what changes they would like, in addition to what type of materials they would like us to purchase for their schools. So because of that award, we did get a little bit more formal for that survey.
Great. Erin just asked another question, and this one looks like it's for Linda. She said, if parents are worried about their child, adult, or teen, and maybe we could open that up to if parents or caretakers are worried about the Next Chapter Book Club participant not reading, what do? Do you reassure them that it is okay? I have heard sometimes that people read and then the person repeats what is being read.
Absolutely. Our club is made of adults primarily. We do have now a high school senior in it, but really we're looking for this club to attract adults. And that's right, we have caregivers, we do have some parents, and it doesn't matter. If you know, Joe doesn't want to read tonight, he doesn't read tonight. And if he reads next week, that's really great too. We asked, would someone like to read, is the question that we've encouraged to write. Would someone like to read? And if at that very moment no one reads, Mary and I will read, or one of the caregivers will read, whoever wants to keep the story going. We never ask. You know, the person might be just really energized when they've hit the story on one week, but the next, no, they shake their head, no, I don't want to read tonight. Shadow reading is something that through the training we were exposed to. In this case, we really don't seem to have a need for that. We have people that can read beautifully, but are on their intellectual disability prevents them somewhat of becoming fully engaged in the club, although many changes have happened in the last almost 2 years with individuals like that. So you can have an opportunity to do that, but with us, we just very easily ask, would you like to read? And we see what happens. And we have people that are there as a parent, as I say, they stay with the child, or stay with the adult for some period of time, and sometimes they just go outside and sit in the library and things go great. Sometimes, as I said, they read and enter into the conversation too.
Unless anyone else has any other questions, I will ask my own question to finish us off. If anybody does have a question, please add it to the chat box now. And what I'm hoping you will answer is, what advice would you give to someone who is considering working with this population for the first time? They might be a little nervous or unsure about it.
This is Kayla. I would say just take advantage of the resources that are available to you. If you do contact a school, go to the school. That's one mistake that I made at the beginning of my program that I regret, not going there first and seeing the students and meeting them, so that when they came to the library, they'd have an opportunity to see a face that they already recognized and felt comfortable around. So I would say absolutely contact organizations that can assist you. You can do some research, read journals. That helps a little bit, but there's nothing quite like working with people. And I would say also, you can have everything planned to a T and then something could go wrong. Just don't have that thought in your mind immediately. Go into it with confidence and know that you're going to grow from this program and be better for it.
And I would say that the first step for us, if you are thinking about having a Next Chapter Book Club, was talk to Tom or Julian at the Next Chapter Book Club at the University of Ohio. And they are really empowering and have so much dedication to this program that I think any questions you have about feeling uncomfortable or working with this population, if you've never done it before, will not exist any longer. And I think on the slide where I had this quote from Tom, he said, the Next Chapter Book Club is based on having fun and learning something along the way. Sure, it takes organization, commitment, and support, but the most successful programs require those ingredients too. The beauty of the Next Chapter Book Club is that the members and facilitators make it happen, and things almost always go very smoothly. And I would like to say one more time that I think an evaluation, when I made that, said that quote from one of our members, "This is what I have wanted to do all my life." There you go. I think that says it all. Thank you so much.
Kayla Kuni and Linda Holtslander, thank you both so much for sharing these two very different and very successful programs with us. I hope everybody got some good ideas and resources to work with. Please note that Kayla and Linda's contact info is in the chat box. They have offered to share that information with us, so please feel free to contact them with questions. Thank you again for joining us today, and we hope to see you on another webinar soon.